Welcome, everyone. So glad you are joining us this afternoon for another Spotlight series. Today, we will be discussing digital badges with Eduphoria, and we have a guest presenter from Goose Creek CISD, Lori Roberts. I'll give her a more formal introduction in just a moment. Working in the background today is myself, Tara Whedon, and one of our wonderful training and implementation specialists, Paige Parker. We will be here to address any questions that come up in the Q&A. As a reminder, we are recording this session and you will get an email in 24 hours with the recording of this content and any links that our presenter would like to share with you from this content. As previously mentioned, we do have a Q&A option. Any questions you have related to the software components that are being shared, please drop those in the Q&A. Myself and Paige will be monitoring to respond to you as quickly as possible, connect you with resources where appropriate. We also have our chat. We won't monitor that for questions, but you are welcome to engage in discussion. Lots of wonderful ideas can be shared there. So definitely use that as a space to kind of collaborate with anyone else who is attending this afternoon, share ideas of maybe ways you are doing versions of this in your district. So we love to hear your ideas there in that chat. But if you have a question that you would like answered today, please drop that in the Q&A window. If appropriate, we'll bring those questions to Lori and have her answer those live while she is presenting, so she can make sure you're connected to that information. So we have Lori Roberts here with us today. She is the Educational Technology Specialist with Goose Creek CISD. Since 2012, Lori has served as an Educational Technology Specialist in Texas. She currently works with high school staff and students in her district to help integrate technology into the classroom. The district is home to a one-to-one take-home iPad program, and Lori is the program liaison for Robert E. Lee High School, a 3-time Apple Distinguished School. Lori has a love for technology, design, education, and learning. If you're like me, these are a few of your favorite things, and you are in the right spot today. Lori has presented in multiple platforms, including TCA conferences, Google Summits, and the Setting the Trend Librarian Conference. She has many badges that she has achieved through her interest in technology and education and learning. Visit her About Me page to see examples of those badges. Lori, we are so excited to have you here today. Go ahead and start sharing your screen and take it away for us.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to fully admit that we are a WebEx district, so Zoom and sharing on Zoom is a little new to me. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my link to the entire presentation once we're done. And like Tara said, I'm Lori Roberts. I am an ed tech specialist in Goose Creek, which is in Baytown outside of Houston. So to give you a little bit of background about Goose Creek and our technology, I've worked in the district now for 10 years. In 2002, we looked a lot different technology-wise than what we look like now. Currently, we are working on and have been working on for the past few years, making sure all classrooms have a setup of the same types of technology in every single classroom. When I first got into the district, many campuses had different types of equipment. So for us, making sure we had standardized across the classrooms was a big importance to us. We are one-to-one with iPads. We've been one-to-one with iPads in the high school level since 2014. And because of COVID, we have gone one-to-one K-12 now. We have about 24,000 students in our district and about 2,500 instructional staff at the campuses. Libraries, we have a set of desktop computers, and then in all of our classrooms and libraries, we have Promethean active panels. We're in the process of having Apple TVs in every single classroom. We have document cameras in classrooms, teacher desktop computers, and then of course the teachers have iPads to teach with. So with all of this technology, we wanted something for our digital badge program to be where teachers are using the technology in the classroom. You're going to hear me saying that a lot, and not necessarily going to a session to get a digital badge. So that I'm going to explain that a little bit more about what our digital badge program looks like. So let me talk about our journey with digital badges. I've got a graph up here that kind of shows the badges we've awarded throughout the years, but let me start with where we started from. So in 2017, Robert E. Lee High School was going for their renewal of becoming an Apple Distinguished School for the second time. Part of that renewal included that at least 75% of the teachers had to be Apple teachers through the Apple Teacher program. So we were trying to figure out a way to document that. So we knew who had their Apple teacher and who didn't. I created a Google form. My teachers submitted their name. They uploaded a copy of their certificate from the Apple Teacher Learning Center. And then from that, we were able to document the process. Around that same time, teachers across the state and districts across the state were starting to get into digital badges. So we thought, well, let's see how we can possibly do digital badges. We tried this documentation process with Google Forms, felt it was a little clunky. It was a separate system. It was hard to track, for one thing that we were doing, which was Apple Teacher, it was easy, but scaling it larger, thinking about different digital badges, different applications, and 2,500 staff members, we knew Google Forms wasn't going to be efficient and effective for us. So I started to look at Eduphoria and say, we're already using Eduphoria for workshops and appraisals at the time, which now it's combined into Strive. And how can we utilize something that we're already using? Our teachers are comfortable enrolling in workshops, and utilize that for our digital badge system. So through eCourses is how we decided to create our digital badge program. And throughout this session, I'm going to show you how to create these digital badges in the eCourse program. It's a lot up front, but once you have it all set up, it is very easy and seamless for you and your teachers. But I do want to tell a little story here about Mr. Blue. His picture is over here on the left. We weren't really sure if digital badges were going to take off in our district at all, and if it was going to be something that our teachers would be enthusiastic about. I work with our high school teachers, and I am a former high school teacher myself, so I feel fully confident in saying we are not the most enthusiastic bunch out of all of the grade levels. So to get our teachers to submit their Apple Teacher, what I also decided to do secretly was I created these little certificates for them to have once they got their Apple Teacher certification. So what I did was they submitted to the form, and I secretly went to the school and I put them outside their classrooms. They didn't know they were coming. They didn't know where they were going to be there. And by the time I got back to my office, I had emails from people saying, where's my certificate? I submitted my form. I'm an Apple teacher. Where's my certificate? And I was really shocked at how much the teachers liked the recognition outside of their door. And then it also became competitive. So Mr. Blue ended up also becoming an Apple teacher for the Mac and for Swift Playgrounds, because his neighbor teacher, Miss Mulliken, got all of the same badges as well. So as they started seeing that their neighbor teachers or teachers in the hall had different certificates than what they had, they wanted to get those as well. So our digital badge program is digital in that it's keeping it all in Strive, but they also get a physical badge as well that they can display outside their classroom to show what they're using inside their classroom. So that's kind of a little bit of history about where we came from with our digital badge program. So why badges in Eduphoria? I mentioned that we wanted to make sure we're rewarding our teachers for using the technology in their classrooms with their students, not necessarily coming to a training after school, during school, and then walking away and never doing anything with that. So we wanted to make sure they're actually utilizing it in the classroom. That was the end goal with the students. We didn't want it to be something difficult for the teachers, something extra, something additional added onto their plate. So we're trying to keep it as easy as possible. And again, we didn't want to just reward them a badge for attending a training. So I created some videos for my staff to show how easy the process is. These videos are linked in the presentation. They're also on our YouTube channel, and we have them linked on our website for the teachers. So I have one video showing them how to enroll in a digital badge course. For our teachers, they're very familiar with enrolling in any type of workshop through Eduphoria. So this process for them is very simple, 30 seconds or less to enroll into a digital badge course. Once they're enrolled in the course, that's the part where some of our teachers, they don't do this as often. So I also created a step-by-step video for them as well. This one is a little bit longer because they do have to submit some proof and answer some questions as part of the badge process. So our badge process is our how they're getting the badge is they have to tell us how they're using the technology tool in the classroom, and then they have to submit proof of using that technology in the classroom. So they're uploading a file in there. And then the one thing, of course, that many of you who are handle this side of workshops and e-courses know that most of the teachers forget to request that credit. So that piece is in there as well to remind them you have to request credit before I see it on my end to be able to approve that badge. And then I also created text-based instructions. I'm giving you an editable version of this so you can go in and tweak it for your individual district if you need to. So easy process is what we wanted to do. We also wanted to make sure that we were getting examples of proof in the classroom. This video shows examples from our Google Forms digital badge. So teachers can submit screenshots of, for this example, screenshots of an actual Google form that they've used, screenshots of their Google Drive showing all the forms they have. They can also submit photos of them using Google Forms in the classroom. They can submit pictures of students using the technology in the classroom. So I really enjoy this side of it because I can see how it's actually being used in the classroom. And if it's got students in the pictures or teachers in the photos like this, for example, I can then take those and share those as well. The teacher also has examples of these proof that is now saved in their Eduphoria. So if they needed it for their T-TESS, they have access to all of this stuff as well. So it's a portfolio for themselves as well as what's happening in the classroom. I also really enjoy when they are showing me examples of the work the students have actually completed. So this is an iMovie video from one of our students in the district. That's her actual work. So that's what the teacher submitted for her credit to get the digital badge. And then I also have an audio example of a GarageBand project a student did. So I'll click on this play button for you real quick, just so you can kind of see an example. And then the great thing I then was able to do was I contacted the teacher that submitted this digital badge. I said, this is an amazing project the student did. Can you ask her if I can share this out on social media, showing this as an example? So it's another way to promote those great things that are happening with technology across your district. For the teachers, like I mentioned before, they have that submission of proof with each of the courses. Once the credit has been awarded, it also shows up in their portfolio. We've created a separate credit type called digital badge. So it's completely separate on their portfolio than all of the other credits they may have earned. They can also then see those digital badges, what type of technology badge they earned. And this is accessible to both them and their administrator for T-TESS. So teachers have started using digital badges as one of their goals for T-TESS. It's also a great way to show that proof in case an administrator comes through for a walkthrough and they don't necessarily see technology happening that day. This is a way to show the technology usage or hit some of those different domains on T-TESS that the administrator may not see when they come do their walkthroughs. So enough about why we're doing this. You're here, you want to know how to do it. So let's talk about how to set up these e-courses for digital badges. Again, I've kind of hacked the system. So there are some little things you're going to need to watch out for, because the e-course system in Eduphoria was not made for digital badges, but I've twisted it a little bit to make it work for how we need it to work. So the first thing that you'll need to do, and hopefully if you're on this call, you have access to be able to get into the workshop setup in Strive. If you don't, I'm giving you this presentation at the end. So whoever you need to talk to set this all up, you can give them screenshots and have them see how to do it. So in workshop setup, you just go to credit types and then create a new credit type. We just called ours digital badge. And then we selected one of the images that wasn't already being used in the district. We thought the ribbon looked like a badge. So that's the one we chose to keep it looking different from the rest of our credit types that we have. On this slide and each of the remaining slides, I have a more info button. And if you click on that, it's going to take you to the Eduphoria help system, so that you can see the step-by-step instructions there as well if you need to. So credit type is the first thing to set up. The next thing that we set up were different course categories. So the reason we did this is we have different badges for elementary, high school, and junior school. We didn't have one badge for the entire district, mainly because we wanted to split up our teachers. I work with just the high school. There's another ed tech specialist for junior schools and another for elementary schools. So we wanted to be able to divide and conquer our numbers instead of having one person having to do all of them. We take care of our own levels. It's also helpful whenever the teachers are searching for a digital badge, they can break down the category by elementary only and search just through those. We also have in the badge name, we put elementary, junior high, or high school so that our teachers can find what they need. It's also good to have the different course categories because we do have different badges at the different levels, depending on different software that may be used. For example, at elementary, K2, we use Seesaw, and then 312, we use Google Classroom as an LMS. So the Seesaw badge is really only needed at elementary. It's not needed at the other two levels. So course categories would be the second piece to set up. We also set the category image to be that ribbon, just so it would match across everything in Eduphoria. All the digital badges would be that red ribbon. The next piece to do, if you haven't ever created an e-course, is you're going to go in to create the e-course. A few notes when you're creating the course: there are different titles for roles that people will assume whenever you make an e-course. The instructor is the person who is actually viewing the assessments. They're viewing the work and the submissions that the teachers are doing, and then they are granting or denying the credit for those individual people. The content author is the person who creates, edits, and manages the content inside the course. So they're the person that creates the assessment to have the staff member submit their work. So if you are going to be the person that is the author creating the content and the person that's approving and denying credit, you do need to make sure that your name is selected on both of those. You can also have somebody create the initial course and be the course manager, and then add other people as instructors and authors. When we first started, I created all of the courses, and then once we knew this is kind of how we were doing it, I then pushed over the reins onto who actually needed it. So now our elementary and our junior high people, they create all their own badges, they handle all their own authorship, and they're the instructors for their own individual courses. In the setup process as well, make sure that you set those categories and mark which course category it is, a digital badge, if you're going to split yours up like we did. The great thing about Eduphoria is once you have one course completed, you can very easily just copy that course and change the name of it. That's basically all we do. We keep the description the same for all of our courses. We keep all of the other settings the same as well. So really all I'm having to do each time I make a new badge is go in and copy an existing badge and then change the name of it. Makes it very, very easy. Once you get one done, it's very easy to duplicate over and over and over again. Whenever you are actually authoring the course, so this is information that can only be updated by a course author. This one is the piece where this is what they're actually submitting to you. So for us, what I created was my content is simply just a assessment. I call it submission. And then the questions that get asked are a text-based question, provide a brief description of how you use this tool with students. And then I also have a note in there. If you do not work directly with students, describe how you use it in your role. So these digital badges aren't just for instructional staff. We also have secretaries that submit digital badges for Microsoft Office, for Excel, Outlook, etc. And they get the digital badges too, which is great. We don't want it just to be instructional. We want everybody in the district to be able to utilize these digital badges. And then the second question that I have in there is an upload file type. So this one is upload a copy of the student work, screenshot of the student work, or a photo of students completing the activity in class. And they have to actually submit proof. When we first started, we were accepting lesson plans, but we soon realized that just because you create a lesson plan, you may not then actually follow through and finish that out with the students. So we want proof that it's actually being used in the classroom. So they can submit one. I've had teachers submit 5 or 6 photos or 5 or 6 examples. So they can submit as many files as they want to here. And then I also added in a just text-based option at the end that says after you've answered the questions and you've submitted your file, you need to make sure you go click score assessment. And then you have to request credit. That's the part, again, a lot of our teachers forget about. So I include that in the information. And then I also have instructions on how to request credit in case they need it included in that description. So because this assessment is generic enough, nothing has to get changed in here per course. So again, when you're copying, you're not having to edit any of the information within this submission. And then the part that is, I've got on here as a hot tip is the piece that does not copy whenever you copy a course is you'll go into the submission type. There is the assessment, is it required for credit or is it just practice? By default, it's set as practice. So if you leave this set as practice and the teacher submits, you're not going to get to see their work and it won't require it as part of the credit process. So this is something that does have to be changed for every single course before you make it live for your staff. So you would click required test for credit, click update, and then your course is good to go as far as the submission piece. So again, this setting has to be changed every time. It does not copy whenever you copy a course. Once your teachers have submitted their credit to you, you will get a notification in Eduphoria, and I want to just show you what it looks like. So when I go into Eduphoria, you'll get a credit review option here. So it tells me I have 7 Strive eCourse credits that I need to go review. This is a helpful tip that I'm going to tell you. This is something I've learned and I try to remember it, but sometimes I forget. If you click on this link, it's just going to take you to the Strive section where you can go and review credit. It's not going to go to the exact courses where the credit needs to be reviewed. And it's going to take the notification away, even if I don't go approve the courses. So what I do is I go straight into Strive. And then I go to settings and then you'll go into workshop settings. You'll go into course management, and then it's in the instructor author section because you are the instructor. It's an eCourse. And then again, I've hacked the system. So what you have to do is scroll and find, and I'm an administrator and some of those badges show up for me just because, but basically what you have to do is go and click and then go to participants and see, is anybody pending? Okay, I have a pending, I can go review that one. But if I go keep clicking, I don't think I have anybody in clips. So if I click on participants, nope, nobody's there. So there's not a digital badge. So I go to the next one. Is there anybody there? No, they're not. So I just would need to keep scrolling until I found who it is I'm looking for. So I have one that I checked earlier. So this is a digital badge for test creation in Eduphoria Aware, and I do have a pending person there. And so what I would do is click on that participant. I then go to the assessments tab, click select assessment, and there's their submission. And then I have their answer. I use this when making a test so that students can take their exam via their iPad. And then here is his picture. So I would click on that. It would go to my downloads. I would click to open. It opened on my second screen. So let me bring it over here so you can see it. So there is the test that he created in Eduphoria. And so then I have three options. I can grant him credit, I can deny him credit, or I can return it to him. So let me go back to the presentation to explain the difference between these. So if I approve it, he gets the credit. He would get an email from Eduphoria saying you've been granted credit for this course. It would then now show up in his portfolio, and he would not show up as pending for me anymore. If I click deny, this is one you want to use with caution, because if you click deny, they're going to get an email they've been denied credit. And if it was a mistake on their end, let's say instead of submitting a picture for Eduphoria, Vaughn submitted a picture for Google Forms. He just accidentally submitted the wrong picture. And this has happened with teachers a ton of times, because sometimes they'll go and submit for 5 or 6 badges at once. And so their pictures will get mixed up. If I deny him credit because he submitted the wrong picture, he will never be able to try again to get that credit unless I unenroll him from the course and then he enrolls again. So for me, the only time I deny credit is if there's some, let's say an elementary person signs up for one of my courses, they're going to get denied. Instead, what I do is I return it to the attendee. This allows them to submit again for credit. It's basically like a redo. If you're in the classroom, they're retrying. So the way you do this is you click on return to, you click redo assessment first. Once you click redo assessment, this view notes option will show up in the top right. You click view notes and you can add in any notes that need to be corrected. So if Vaughn had actually accidentally submitted for Google Forms picture instead, I would type, you submitted a Google Forms picture, please resubmit with a picture for Eduphoria Aware test creation. Then I would click the return to attendee button. And what will then happen is Vaughn gets an email and I get an email with that note information in it. So he knows what he needs to do to make any corrections. He can then go back into Eduphoria, back into the course. He can create another submission and fix his mistakes and then resubmit and request credit again. And then that way it puts that process back on the teacher so that I'm not trying to have to hunt and find which badge he needs. Does he already have the Google Forms badge? Does he not have it? It makes it a little bit better. I've also included that link again to the Eduphoria information on evaluating credit. And then for our specific needs, I created an instruction sheet that I've used with our ed tech specialists as well, so that they know how to go in and get the credit for the teachers. So once that process is done, what I usually do is once a week, if I see I have pending credits and my number's a little high because I left it purposely on there for this, because I wanted to be able to go in and show you this is how it works. So I can go ahead and I'll grant credit to Vaughn so you can see, are you sure you want to grant credit? Yes, I am. So now he's out of my pending section. And then I can continue on my way. This is usually how I do it. I'll then go to the next one and see, is there anybody there? Go to the next one, is there anybody there? And keep going until I find the next person on my list. And let's say I know somebody's in Google Forms, I can go there, open up Emily's assessment, check hers. Did she have what she needed? She also included for me a link to the actual form. So teachers can do that as well. I can copy that link and then open it up and I can see her actual form that she needs. So she's no longer accepting forms on that one, but she's got a picture in there as well. So it's nice that teachers can also submit links as well as attaching the documents. So then for me, what I then do next logistics wise, because yes, we have the digital badge portion. And if that's the only piece you're doing, you're good to go, you're done. For us, we also have the paper, the physical copy of the digital badges that we use as well. So what I do is I have a note on my iPad. I used to do this with sticky notes and actual paper, and I was just writing down names constantly. And then once I would do their badges, I'd be throwing it away. So I'm trying to be a little bit more conscious. And I'm like, why am I not doing this on my iPad? So I just write down the name of the badge. I write down the people that are getting it. I write down the school name, and then I keep that on my iPad until I'm ready to go actually pull the badges. And I'm a little lucky because this station is right outside my office. And in this area right here, all these little file folders, they have all our badge sheets. So we have an Avery label that we use. It's a circle Avery label. And I'm going to give you templates for all of this as well. So if you want to use the same, it's a 2-inch sticker. And I just go into those folders and I look for, if I'm looking for, let's say the Pocket Points app, I go find that one. I need 2 stickers. So I pull 2 stickers out and I get all the stickers that I need. If I need a tracker sheet, I'll also get the tracker sheet. This year, we're doing something a little bit differently. We're making special tracker sheets for each year. So it's a different color. So now they're lime green instead of white. So we're trying to get teachers to continue doing digital badges every single year. That's one of the ways that we thought of possibly doing it. Once I get the stickers, I put them all on the sticker sheets, or if a teacher already has a sheet, they'll just get the badges. I organize them with sticky notes per campus. And then the next time I go to those campuses, I will go and deliver, or I'll make a special delivery and go hit all of my campuses at once. I also like to, now I don't just put their name on them. I also include like a little written note as well, just to let them know, hey, you're doing a great job. Thanks for participating in this program. And thank you for using technology with your students. So that's kind of the logistics of how the actual physical paper part works. Because once you approve the badge in Eduphoria, it's not really easy to go find, well, who did I go get, who all got badges today? So this is the process that I use to keep track of it. Once they are all in there, they have their credit. You may want to pull a report to do some counting. So at the beginning of this presentation, I had the bar chart with all of the badge numbers. I got those numbers by pulling a report, this same exact report from Strive. So it's the staff spreadsheet export. And what you want for your report fields are the staff member's name. I like to include the campus list if I am doing any kind of a leaderboard. If you're just wanting a straight count for the entire district, you could leave that piece out. Then include the digital badge credit type. So if I didn't include campus list, it would just simply be name and badge. And this is a count over here. So then what I'm filtering by, my filter items, you're going to pick to customize the date. Depending on if you're doing a monthly list, we used to do a monthly leaderboard on our website. We haven't brought that back since COVID, but before COVID, we were doing a monthly leaderboard on the website. And then you would want to filter by just the digital badge credit type, and it'll put a count in that column. So then you know by each person how many digital badges they've earned in that specific time frame. Then through Excel, you could do a pivot table to analyze by campus, or use it for a leaderboard. So that's what is shown down here is the pivot table. And then what I would do is sort by the highest to lowest. And I think we were putting the top 3 on our website, and some of the schools were getting very competitive. Some of the schools were also pointing out to us that some of the campuses have less staff members than other campuses, and so it wasn't fair. And I had to remind them that if every single one of your teachers on your campus, let's say, gets 2 badges and not as many teachers are participating at another campus, you could still come out on top. So for example, on our high schools, Stewart Career Tech High School is one of our smaller schools. And at the time they had a small number of faculty, but they still beat Robert E. Lee High School, which is one of our larger campuses. So it just depends on how competitive the campus is, and how much the administration at the campuses help push those digital badges for us. The last thing that I want to talk about as part of the setup process is end of the year cleanup in for your badges and for these e-courses. So depending on how you set up your badges, there's kind of 2 ways to do it, and we've done both. We have had at the beginning, when we first started with digital badges, we did a kind of a one and done method. So if you earned a Google Classroom, if you earned the Google Classroom badge, you got the badge and you didn't earn it again. You'd have to go up and possibly get Google Classroom quizzes. I don't know. We became pretty specific on some of our badges. We liked that. It worked for us for a couple of years, but now this year what we've changed to is a yearly badge program. So now we will have a Google Classroom 21-22 badge. We'll have a Google Classroom 22-23 badge for next year, so that this encourages our teachers to keep using the technology, but also start adding to get other technology usages in the classroom. We've also started to add different types of the same badges. So for example, you might have a Google Forms badge. You may have a Google Forms survey badge, a Google Forms quizzes badge, a Google Forms attendance badge, or, you know, all these different usages. For us, it's tool-based primarily, rather than type, but you could also do different types of badges, just a podcasting badge instead of being specific on the tool they're using to create the podcast. But if you are doing ongoing badges, what I highly encourage you to do is at the end of July or at the end of whatever your cycle is. For us, we roll over in August 1. So at the end of July, you would want to go in and unenroll any attendees that have not earned credit for those ongoing badges. So for example, Apple Teacher for iPad, you get the Apple Teacher iPad certification, you get it, and then you're done. You can't get it again. So this would be an ongoing badge. And in July, I would go through and I would unenroll all those people. You may be saying, why? Why do I need to unenroll them at the end of the year? Well, the main reason is that the enrollment date of when someone enrolls in the eCourse is the date that that course will appear on their portfolio when you grant them credit. So for example, this individual person down here, they enrolled in all of these badge courses on September the 26th. They didn't earn all of those credits at that time. I've got a lot of people that will enroll in the course at the beginning of the year, but not complete the badge until the middle or the end of the year. So for example, Vaughn and Kristen, they enrolled on 2 different dates. Vaughn enrolled on September 29th and Kristen enrolled on 10/1. If they submitted for approval on November the 1st and I approve that badge on November the 1st, it's still going to show up on their portfolio as September 29th and October 1st. So the reason this becomes important is because if a teacher enrolls in a course in the 2019-2020 school year, but they don't submit the course for credit until the 2021 school year, then their badge is going to go on not the 2021, but it's going to go on the 1920 school year. I hope that makes sense. So what we found this out when we were running leaderboards, and somebody was supposed to show up in the new school year and that badge wasn't showing up in the count. And that's how we figured out that it's the enrollment date that shows up, not the date you actually award them credit. So make sure if you're doing ongoing badges, unenroll people at the end of July so that they can re-enroll in August. And I always send them an email and say, hey, I'm unenrolling you. Once August rolls around and we come up for the new school year, please go back and re-enroll and submit that credit as soon as you have the proof. If you're going to do yearly badges like we are, at the end of July, you would want to archive everything from the previous year and then go create new copies of everything for the upcoming school year. So once you have the badges, you have everything in Eduphoria, and you're ready to roll it out to your staff, you may say, well, how do I get staff excited about this? You know, it's a new program. So what you really want to do at the beginning is promote those actual physical portions of the badge, those stickers, those certificates, because that's actual visual proof that they have, that they can show off, that you can promote on social media, that they can promote on social media so that other people see it. Otherwise, it's just stuck in Eduphoria in a digital form that the only people that are seeing it are them and their appraiser. So like I said before, T-TESS Goals are great integration. We have a lot of teachers that are using badges as their professional T-TESS goal because they have the proof. They can say, I will earn at least 2 digital badges for each semester, and they'll have that proof. Those badge trackers are great. Like I said before, we're doing different badge trackers each year, again, to hopefully hope that the teachers will see that as an incentive, a way to show off all of their badges. Jeans passes sometimes work. They worked a lot better than they do now. Candy, other things that you can think of to help promote incentives on getting the digital badges. And then we even had one campus that took an old tennis trophy and recreated it into a digital badge trophy. And so each month they asked me for the person who got the most badges for the month, and they would pass that trophy around to that teacher, whoever earned the most digital badges for the month. And then again, like I said before, when you go deliver the badges to teachers, I'm the kind of person, I don't want to interrupt them while they're teaching. So if I can hand deliver a badge, I enjoy doing it. I can get a picture, I can see the teachers, I can see the kids, I can see what's going on in the classroom. But you can also just pop them in their boxes if it's something really quick. But if you do a badge delivery in person, I always try to get a picture of the person if they're okay with it. And then we use that out on our social medias. Badge leaderboards, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, share those things out. It's showing the teacher's recognition. It's showing that you're utilizing technology in the classroom. And for us, because we get a lot of our technology funding through bonds, we want the community to see the positive things that we're doing with technology in the classroom. And then we've also created extra challenges. Sometimes I did the 2 years prior to COVID, I created an app of the month challenge for my high school teachers and made a special game board that they needed to complete. It was a challenge amongst all the teachers. So I told them whoever finishes the whole board by a certain date, they would get put in a drawing to win something. I wasn't sure what it was going to be. Mr. Lacey ended up winning. I went and bought him an Amazon gift card, I think $25, and bought him these balloons. And he had the biggest grin on his face when I came walking down the hall with his prize. Again, secondary teachers aren't really the most enthusiastic, but he was very happy. He had a huge grin on his face, and he was definitely showing off and taunting his other team members that he was the one that won. So get teachers involved as much as you can in the process. And then finally, all the good stuff that you probably want the most. We do use physical badges, like I said, an Avery label. I have a template for you that you can go and grab. That's the template for the Avery label 5294. We buy these boxes at a time so that we have them on hand if we ever need them. I also use Google Drawings to create the actual badges themselves, and then we print them out. So you're going to get, if you go to this link, and I've got the presentation that we're going to share out at the end as well, you have access to a Google Drive folder that includes drawing files for all the physical badges, print sheets. We've got some trackers we've created for App of the Month, our badge display, instruction sheets, tons of stuff in there. Use it. It's just make a copy and it is yours to edit. Beg, borrow, and steal is what we do as teachers. So it's all there for you to use. So that is it. There's the link to my presentation if you need to go back through anything. And if you want to reach out, if you have any questions, you can contact me on Twitter at edtechlori or via email, lori.roberts@gccisd.net. And I am here to help if you have any questions.
Thanks so much, Lori. This has been super, super exciting to hear your message. I really love that you shared ways to have some competition amongst staff, as well as some opportunities to share with your community. So going on site was super exciting to hear what your processes look like for that, and that you have opportunities to engage with the community. So I'd just like to share, as we're closing, we do have a webinar coming up towards the end of the month, Growth for All, Connecting Strive and Aware to Measure Success. And so we hope that you're able to join us again for that content. Any other questions, please put them in the Q&A as we are closing. And we are so excited that you were able to join us today, Lori, and share this wonderful information with our audience. We do have one thing that popped up in the Q&A. We'll get Paige's attention on that, and we can follow up with Kristen. So thank you so much for being here this afternoon. We hope you all have a great week.